Wait, who's that? A mysterious figure uninstalls the blocker from Jeffrey's computer. Who could it be? Who would undermine your self-improvement attempts? There is only one man we can trust to find out the answer for us. Adonis. How dare you sacrifice young Jeffrey's attempts to improve himself? The mysterious figure tries to run away, but he's no match for Adonis, the fastest man on the planet. Adonis sweeps him to the floor and holds him there in a Kimura. He slowly pulls the mask off our perpetrator. Mark Zuckerberg? So it was Zuck all along, ruining Jeffrey's efforts to improve himself. Mystery solved. Well done, Adonis. Adonis is never too tired to visit the House of Iron. With max level discipline and willpower skills, Adonis never skips a workout. Why would he? That's the most fun part of his day. Adonis is the dream man. Women dream about him. Hell, even straight men dream about him. Adonis looks fiercely cut from marble, with perfect muscle insertions. A godlike physique. A strong jawline that would impress Mike Mew. Hunter eyes that would make Wheat Waffles proud. But Adonis hasn't had it easy. Although he is the ultimate man, he had to go through the ultimate trials and tribulations to get here. The size of a man is directly linear to the size of his problems. And as the tribe leader, Adonis takes responsibility of all problems. That's why he's grown so much. Adonis enters a social flow state on command. Filled with charisma and confidence, Adonis never feels awkward. Why would he? He sets the rules for every social situation. Adonis dresses professionally. A sharp, clean-pressed, tailored suit makes Adonis look like the man. Adonis looks like a winner. He feels like a winner. Chicken dinner. Adonis's dress sense gets him more respect and admiration amongst his fellow men, and also the attraction of women. Adonis trains hard. He delays gratification for his future self. He's been living like this for years. Ever since he was a teenager, he was building up his future self to enjoy a better life. He studied hard, he slept well, he ate clean. All of the self-improvement habits that Adonis did as a young man have compounded to the success that he has today. And what a good life it is to be in the top 10% of men. Adonis is the CEO of morning routines, just like my friend Bill. He rises with the sun and sprints out of his cave. The people are watching. What is he gonna do? Time for some exercise. How do you think Adonis has built this physique? He exercises first thing in the morning, which makes him feel so healthy. A nice nutritious meal in the morning sunlight fuels his muscles. It's time for the most important part of the day. Adonis journals. He meditates, he contemplates. He spends time making the most important decisions. You can't help but look up to someone who has a morning routine just like this. Adonis spends all his free time developing high-value skills. This is what makes Adonis so special. How can one man have such a broad, excellent skill set? The whole tribe's hungry, well, Adonis can hunt. We need direction and encouragement. Well, Adonis is the tribe leader after all. He's developed all these skills, and all the people of his tribe can't help but look up to him. Adonis! You already know what I'm about to say. Adonis is the ultimate man. He hits life from all angles. His physique, his confidence, his success, his status, his mental health, his community, leadership, everything. Adonis is the full package. Just look at that package. Adonis. As soon as the beautiful sunrise hits Adonis's closed eyes, he opens. He's ready for action. He sprints out of his cave and he wakes up his brothers. It is time to hunt. He leads them through the jungle, up a hill, and underneath a great fallen tree. Adonis et al. Slay the mighty boar and bring it back to the tribe. All before the rest of the tribe members have woken up. What a productive morning, Adonis. This is why you are our leader after all. Adonis does the hard work, especially when he doesn't feel like it. For he is a disciplined, strong man. He is so masculine that the women around him can't help but to be feminine. He is so strong and dominant that the women around him can't help but to be submissive. And that's a good thing. That is how men and women need each other to come together in a relationship to unite. But Adonis looks around and we don't have this anymore. Men are feminine, women are masculine. No one needs each other anymore. And so we're all lonely. Adonis. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. He looks around at the weak and useless men of today. He wants to help them, but they don't want his help. They don't want to improve. They don't want to get stronger. It scares him. For the first time in a while, we see Adonis actually being scared for the future. This is a bigger problem than we realize. Adonis laughed at the puny teachers who told him to go to university. Why would he? He was already making more money than his teachers with all of the businesses that he ran in high school. Adonis invests in himself above all. He prioritizes developing his skills and knowledge and uses his money to set up a better life for his future self. Adonis has a mission. His life has purpose. And he chases that purpose relentlessly. Women enter his life. Women exit his life. He enjoys them whilst they stay and he spends limited time with them. This makes him more attractive to those women even though he's putting in far less effort. Girls act creepy to Adonis, but he doesn't judge them for that. It's natural to overthink and act weird when you're interacting with someone who's far higher in the social hierarchy than you. And so Adonis gets to enjoy the awkward acts of the pretty girls that most guys dream of. Adonis remains productive, even amongst the distractions of the modern world. He doesn't allow his focus to waver. Adonis believes in himself. He holds a positive attitude about life. He has hope and faith. In the modern day, these things, hope and faith, they seem kind of weird, fruity, religious, and yet those are the exact things that cause a young man to gain some kind of success in his life. Adonis's hope for himself gave him that masculine drive to go and achieve. He became the leader of his tribe. He built a physique in the gym that he's so proud of, and it all started with his beliefs. Adonis went about it in the right way. Adonis built himself up first into the man that receives the love and respect from everyone in his tribe. When he was younger, Adonis's friends would obsess about girls, but Adonis would obsess over challenges he had set himself. He saw men getting into serious relationships before they were ready, having children and getting married without first having developed themselves. And it pained Adonis to see those men live quiet lives of desperation, struggling financially and even mentally. They all felt like it was the right decision to start dating at that age because it was normal. But Adonis understood that normal does not equal righteous. He held off, he focused on himself, he built himself up to be the man that he wanted to be, and with that, the highest quality women became deeply attracted to Adonis. Adonis instantly polarizes women. He doesn't waste time. Within just a few seconds, he displays his interest in a woman, and then he automatically knows if she's interested in him. What would Adonis do? Adonis would apologize on his friend's behalf. And then he would have a serious conversation with Jeffrey and tell him that that is unacceptable. Adonis is a fighter, a warrior, a gladiator. He has bested many men in combat. In his famous 1v1 against Apollo, his greatest enemy, Adonis swings his sword and cuts right through. He is hailed as the brave, courageous victor. If only they knew that Adonis was scared this entire time. Adonis is the ultimate man, the outlier male. He isn't a cringy, loud alpha male. He's the best, most attractive, most confident, most masculine leader. But he's humble, and that makes him even more attractive. He's like a magnet for beautiful women. Women orbit around Adonis, whilst Jeffrey orbits around the women. But Adonis wasn't always like this. He learns from the best couple around, his parents. But just like most men, Adonis had to go through his fair share of mistakes to learn how to attract women and have beautiful, healthy relationships. Adonis has been through a lot. When he was young, he prepared ruthlessly for the rite of passage of his tribe. He impressed everyone, especially the women. Slowly and surely, he moved up the ranks and eventually he was promoted to tribe leader. Through holistic self-improvement, Adonis became the ultimate man. And so now, of course, he has the love of the ultimate woman. Adonis is a humble man, but he does respect himself highly. And so he sets high standards for his woman. Imagine you are in the king's grand courtroom. King Adonis sits on the throne with all the knights and ladies looking up at him. This is the mighty king. Just for a second, literally think about how much power kings used to have. They control the fate of the entire kingdom. They could go to war. And so you look upon King Adonis and you notice one thing, the way that he breathes. He breathes fully, so fully in fact that his stomach bulges in and out like mighty bellows. But he isn't self-conscious about his stomach looking fat. Adonis levels up in real life instead of the virtual world. Whilst other men conquer challenges and explore in video games, Adonis goes on real life adventures. He sees and experiences things that only few men have. He collects artifacts and gold and swords. Adonis looks around at the men, no, the boys of today, consumed by the pixels on their screens, and he wonders why they don't just play the game of life instead. Jeffrey and Adonis start playing old school RuneScape. Jeffrey spends 30 minutes customizing his character, whereas Adonis chooses the default character look and rushes off, eager to level up. Jeffrey's slow to take action. He's distracted by the female characters, whereas Adonis is already killing giant rats. Jeffrey spends his time on RuneScape, stood around the banks, XP wasting. Adonis power levels his skills. He leads a clan and he slays high-level beasts. Jeffrey stays as a noob and complains about the high requirements of the new exciting quest, whereas Adonis gets to enjoy a new challenge. Adonis. Block by block, Adonis builds a beautiful castle. The lighting, the attention to detail, the courtyard, it's all perfect. Adonis doesn't know what Minecraft is. This is his castle in real life. You see, Adonis chooses to build great things in the game of life. Why would he invest his time and his energy into a virtual world? And so Adonis goes out there and slays dragons, but he doesn't slay the Ender Dragon. He lives the life that all video gamers want, but it's just easier to do all that in the virtual world. Adonis is lucky. He was raised without the hyperstimulation of video games and Hamza's new videos. Instead, Adonis was raised in the house of iron. He was made to prepare for his rite of passage to become a man. Whilst Adonis was growing up, he would look at the boys around him, so confused as to why they wanted to level up their virtual characters instead of just level up in real life. He knew that they had the great rite of passage coming up, and so he trained vigorously, and he saw his peers fail, and fail. That scared Adonis. For these are his brothers in arms. You see, with great work, loyalty, and leadership, Adonis was promoted to the tribe leader, but he was always vigilant of the men around him because he knew how easily they could be pulled to the virtual world. And so he tried hard to save as many men as possible, to pull them away from their screens and bring them out into the wilderness, to challenge them, to set them up to conquer themselves. That is how Adonis's tribe grew to be great. Adonis beats his meat, but not like that. He's a farmer, a hunter, an old school man. Adonis was the first man to transmutate sexual energy into productive goals. Whilst other men are fapping, Adonis is training. He understands that just as good nutrition is fuel for our bodies, sexual energy is fuel for our goals. And dispelling that sexual energy by oneself is a great sin indeed. Adonis tries not to judge, but he can't help but be upset at the hordes of men willingly castrating themselves. And then Adonis notices the young men of NoFap. Adonis understands that most of his power comes from his sexual energy. That's where the masculine drive originates. Not only does Adonis not fap, he actually chooses to abstain and take breaks from sex as well. When he's so focused on his craft, on his mission, Adonis completely ignores all ideas of women. That's why he's the best of us all. Adonis, on the other hand, understands the importance of this pursuit for young men to be less feminine. He looks around at you and your friends and he wonders, why are men so emotional these days? Why do men spend so much time playing and enjoying themselves with this weird stimulating rectangle screen instead of conquering the mission like men are supposed to? They obsess over women whilst women obsess over Adonis. Adonis is the ultimate male, for he has hit life from all angles. His aesthetics, wealth, social skills, confidence, mental health. He brings the full package, and that means that Adonis is in the top 10% of men who actually get attraction from women these days. But what's interesting is that Adonis doesn't really pay attention to them. He's focused on his mission, his goals, his purpose. Modern men could learn a thing or two from Adonis. Adonis wants love, sex, and intimacy. He wants status and achievement and brotherhood. But Adonis is different to Jeffrey because he is the kind of man who goes out there and acquires these things in the real world. We see Adonis hunt, we see him train, we see him feast. He works hard, especially when he doesn't feel like it. And that is exactly why Adonis has built up such a good life. Adonis doesn't squat the weight up. He presses the world down. He lives rent-free in the house of iron, and he started at a young age. Whilst other boys stayed in the comfort of their homes, Adonis ventured out in search for a challenge, and he saw a group of old school men moving heavy weight back and forth. Adonis learns from them. He found his second mentor after his father, and he grew. Through thousands of workouts, he built the body of a Greek god, the holy grail, the aesthetic, V-taper. Adonis does deep work. He enters a deep workflow that no one could pull him out of. He remains focused for a couple of hours, achieving more than Jeffrey does in an entire week. Afterwards, he rests his brain by meditating, journaling, and working out in nature. Adonis. What kind of food do you think Adonis eats? Is Adonis the kind of man who would overindulge in sweeties and processed food? Or would Adonis feast like a caveman? Meat, vegetables, and whole grains. Adonis doesn't need the dopamine from processed junk food. He gets enough dopamine from pursuing his purpose, from conquering challenges and helping his tribe grow. He can't allow his mental and physical energy to be drained by poor quality food. Adonis knows that clean eating is worth it, and he respects any man who delays gratification and prioritizes purpose over pleasure. Adonis understands the importance of sleep more than most. He looks around at the men of today who voluntarily choose weakness over strength. He tries to help them, but they don't want his help. He doesn't understand it. Adonis rests so that his energy can be replenished. Then he can be ready for another day of conquering challenges and helping people. It seems like the average man doesn't want this, and that's crazy. And then Adonis sees you. A young man on the pursuit of his self-improvement. A young man who's actively trying to better his sleep. Adonis nods his head in respect. Adonis started exercising by simply doing the things that makes his muscles burn. He didn't overwhelm himself with hours of research before starting. He just started. He knew it would take a while to build a body he was proud of. And so he just started and enjoyed the journey. Adonis wakes up to sunrise and starts his day. Adonis breezes through his morning routine. He jumps into the icy lake. He meditates and he explores in nature. He picks out his favorite leaf. It's time to train. Adonis pumps iron. He looks up to his idols. He spots his brothers and helps them grow. It's almost the afternoon and time to break his fast. Adonis hunts down a boar by himself. Adonis spends hours reading, learning, and contemplating, improving his mind. Adonis leads his tribe forward, one step at a time. He looks amongst his tribe and he inspires them. Adonis begins to unwind. The sun's about to come down. He's had a fantastic day. He sits around the campfire with his loved ones, looking up at the stars, telling stories to his child. Adonis gets to bed early, setting himself up for another fantastic day ahead. Adonis has been shredded for years. It's not even difficult to stay lean when he eats the perfect diet. The peasants around him look in confusion, but Adonis continues to feast. Adonis was raised to be a strong man. The world needs men like Adonis to lead us out of the hard times. And yet, Adonis looks around at the men around him. We need more strong men. Adonis knows that he has to be well rested to conquer the day. And so he prioritizes sleep. He rests like it's his full-time job. He gives himself more than 8 hours a night. The tribe needs him to be well rested and rejuvenated. Adonis awakes at the sunrise, ready to start the day. Sorry, my voice just cracked there. Adonis is a strong man, the strongest of men. He leads the tribe just like your ex-girlfriend led you on. Sorry, bro. Through grit and relentless obsession, Adonis became strong. He set himself challenges to conquer, and he did just that. But Adonis is disciplined and ambitious. When these two go head to head, who do you think will win? Who do you think will get the respect of other men and the attraction from women? Who do you look up to? Adonis is the opposite. He understands that the obstacle is the way, that discomfort is the key of growing as a man. And he wants other men to be like this. Adonis learned from his early mistakes and kept himself in check. He put his all into his training, and because of that, he grows. Adonis rests just how Pakistani men avoid taxes consistently. Exactly 60 minutes before sunset, you see Adonis retire back to his cave, ready to end the day. The last hour is spent in solitude. He meditates, he contemplates, he stays introspective about his goal. You see the light of his campfire go down and down and down. It is time to rest. Adonis always takes time to improve his mind. After all, Adonis' success has come from his ability to stay disciplined and focused. He can't have depression. He needs mental clarity to conquer challenges and lead his tribe to victory. Adonis understands association psychology. He listens to the same music every single morning to put himself into a trance-like, hyper-focused state. Adonis was taught to be wise and introspective. He keeps a journal alongside him at all time to take notes of his ideas. After all, Adonis' ideas led to the success of his tribe. Adonis focuses on his own growth. He doesn't chase women, and then something weird happens. Women chase him. Adonis doesn't get rejected, and even if he did, he would have zero feelings of embarrassment. Adonis is a self-actualized man. He has achieved all the layers of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He feels fulfilled, but he remembers a time when he was younger and he didn't feel like this. Adonis had to go through the trials and tribulations of being a young man full of testosterone and urges. He struggled, he was constantly distracted, but he took the advice of his mentors and he did something differently. Adonis. You give Adonis your phone with Instagram loaded up. There's ass right there on the screen. Guess what Adonis does? He swipes to the left where you can upload to your Instagram story. He takes a picture of his favorite leaf and he uploads it. That is Adonis's Instagram use of the day. And because Adonis has cultivated a great sense of brotherhood, all of his tribesmen message him about his favorite leaf and they send him their favorite leaves. What a healthy tribe they are. You see, Adonis doesn't need to lust over the women that he encounters. Now that does not mean that Adonis doesn't appreciate beauty. Of course he does. He values beauty and the feminine. But he just doesn't allow himself to obsess over it. He keeps more important things in mind. Adonis rests by resting. Adonis knows that you only rest by resting. Video games are not a rest. Any kind of external stimulation is not a rest. And he needs his rest because he's gonna go and accomplish the next day. Adonis has progressed himself so much and accomplished so much that now he has the capacity to help not only his loved ones, not only his community, but the entire world. Adonis makes movements that are far bigger than him. He encourages wider communities to make positive differences in the world, cleaning up rubbish, helping survivors of natural disasters, easing the effects of climate change. This is a man who has truly conquered so much in his life. We can't help but look up to someone like that. Adonis has no trouble attracting women. Sure, he's made some mistakes when he was younger, but he quickly learned that the best way to get girls was not by following the advice of everyone else. Adonis witnessed the Jeffrey uprising. He saw the masses spend their lives on social media. He looked in shame at the degenerates in the dirty nightclubs. He wondered why so few men attract women in the right way. Adonis is strong, inside and out. He understands that it's the strength inside of him that results in the growth in the external world. Of course, Adonis started out just like the rest of us. He went to the gym and he focused on his outward appearance. But it was his character development that changed it all for him. That's why we look up to Adonis. Adonis uses the camera app to take a picture of his favorite leaf. Adonis forgot about the smartphone that you gave him too. Adonis, on the other hand, expects better from you. He says well done. He respects the work that you're putting in, but he sets high expectations for you. You notice those expectations, those high standards that Adonis has, and you're like, fuck, okay, let me do more. And so you do more and you feel even better. Adonis is a goal setter, a go-getter. You want to know how Adonis is so masculine? He constantly sets and achieves goals. The masculine energy is all about the mission, the goal, the challenge. Adonis understands that being more masculine is simple. Set goals and ruthlessly dedicate your life to achieving those goals. Every action, every decision, every choice that Adonis makes fulfills his goals. Not only does that give Adonis such a great feeling of fulfillment and success, it also leads to him becoming a better father for his children. They look up to him with so much respect and love because they see a man who's dedicated to his purpose. Adonis's entire tribe look up to him. Everyone does. Isn't that the life that you want to live? Well, then it starts with setting goals. Adonis only sees himself in a positive light. Although Adonis stays humble with a student mindset, his self-image is great. Adonis understands the power of his mind. He believes and he sees all of it in his mind and then he makes it a reality. But Adonis wasn't always like this. Adonis started off just like you. He didn't believe in himself. He felt like he wasn't good enough. But slowly and surely, by doing the right things, Adonis began to improve his self-image. And with that, everything changed. Adonis's favorite activity after procreation is learning the wisdom of other men. He spends a great deal of time deep into quality books and then practically uses the wisdom he's learned to master all areas of life. Adonis has fond memories when he looks back at his teenage years. Young Adonis conquered the playground. He spent time in nature away from the distractions of technology. He read books, he learned, he explored, and all of that developed Adonis into the man that he is today.